What's up, guys? It's the Digi-Bros back again. I'm David.
This is Eric. We are the most consistent podcast in the world, and that is facts.
Yeah, factual.
Psych. It's literally been April, which is wild.
It's been way too long. Yeah, when I was on the phone with Eric the other day, and we were like, dude, well, he was like, we haven't done a podcast in forever. I was like, oh, shoot, you're right. We should probably do that. So here we are.
Honestly, I kind of forget we had a podcast.
Me too. I was like, wait, oh, yeah, Digi-Bros.
You know, that's the same thing like with my YouTube channel, because I just uploaded like a few videos recently. And I hadn't posted in like probably like 4 to 5 months, maybe. But I forget about it too, because I feel like I don't know, life gets in the way. You just get used to the things that you have going on, kind of thing. Yep. Which I'm sure you can relate because you work full time.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much for me, just where I've been is working and figuring out my whole work situation. So that's been consuming my whole life pretty much, and then this guy's been doing a lot of all sorts of stuff. So.
Yeah, so I think the last time we did a podcast was maybe like mid to late April. So I can dive into what I've done since then. It's kind of a good amount of stuff. I had the grad season, which was my most successful grad season. Very busy. I worked with, I think, 16 grad shoots. Everyone was really cool to work with. Great people, great photos, great experiences. And I worked with some like more that wanted extra shoots throughout summer, and that was really cool. And then from there, I went to Pismo Beach, which is like, for my family, that's like our favorite place to travel to. And we hadn't been in 4 years. And since then, I became a photographer. So I was like, bet I can revisit all of our favorite food places, favorite scenic spots, and literally everything in between, and photograph it and video it. And it was like really good. And I was thinking about this because you know how like certain things from your childhood, and it's like you get a nostalgic feel for it. Whereas when you revisit, it's not as good as you remembered. With this, I feel like it was exactly the same. I feel like nothing really had changed at all, except the fact that we were just older. Like, I was able to capture everything how it felt, like, on photo and video, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
And just kind of relive everything. And it was really nice, because we went, like, right before, I think it was, is it Labor Day weekend? End of May?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. We went right before then, and it was really quiet, because a lot of the schools, I think it's, like, San Luis Obispo colleges, were still in school. So we went when it was really quiet. The beaches were empty, the pier, not too many people. The restaurants we were going to, not too packed. And it was really nice, great experience from there. And then the rest of the summer was more of just doing shoots with different people, and also just kind of collaborative things with different models and just whoever as well. And then we did a little collab thing with Cam, who we had on the podcast probably well over a year ago now.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and that was cool. We just went to the lake, just got kind of some summer stuff. I just got kind of like social media stuff, like Instagram Reels and TikTok and all that stuff. I think it was just cool kind of hanging out as a collective while creating stuff.
Definitely.
And then from there, I went to, okay, this is kind of off, but it's part of summer, but I did 2 different photo meets. One was hosted by Good Ink, which I believe they do more of just like Northern California meets. Maybe SoCal, I'm not too sure. But the host was Damian Brunton, who's a popular photographer on TikTok and Instagram, who's also just from Folsom like me. He hosted that. I went there with a friend, and it was cool. Like, it was my first proper photo meet. It was cool just like meeting different photographers, talking with them, kind of getting to like learning like their come up with photography, what they have going on, and just kind of seeing like their perspective of photography. Because I feel like it's interesting seeing someone like for us, for example. We may do the same shoot, same location, everything, but we'll capture different things. I think that's what's cool about it, because I'm talking to these different people, and I'm watching their process as we're like taking turns with models, and just seeing like how different their process is compared to mine.
That's one thing that's super cool. Yeah, about just any creative process is you can have people with the exact same camera gear or whatever, in the exact same place. And even like with video work too. Yeah. And if you'd like just tell them to tell a story, or even in people's pictures, you definitely want to tell a story. So you can get very different stories just because that's how everyone's mind works. We're not all the same, which is what makes art so cool.
And then from there, the other photo meet I went to was called Portrait Slam, which one of my model friends invited me to that, and I got in like. I wasn't really on the list to get in. Like, they added me as an add-on because I was like a mutual of this person. That was cool as well. That one what was nice with this one is it was sponsored by Tamron, the lens company. So they had all these lenses you can try out for free. They offered people different challenges. Then what they would do is there's like this host who would just cycle you between models and photographers to make sure that everyone was working with different people. And I think I worked with maybe like 6 or 7 different people in the span of like an hour, which was pretty cool.
Was that in Folsom too?
Yeah, that was in Old Folsom by the
that was the one that
the powerhouse.
They reached out to me.
Yeah.
And
okay, wait.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Story time. They reached out to me, and I was like, I've never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to Eric, and I was like, hey, you heard of this? And at the time, he hadn't. And he was like, yeah, like, I don't really know. So, and I was like, okay, cool. And I just left it at that. I didn't sign up for it. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be scammed. Because even to be a model, like, you had to pay, like,
35, 40,
X amount of dollars. And I was like, And then I see him, and it's the day of the thing, and I forgot that it was, like, going on. And then he was, like, posting on his Instagram and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, so he did end up going. But long story short, he ended up figuring it out, and it all worked out. But I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was a legit thing? Like,
because the reason I was sus about it was because back in, like, early this year, maybe March, they had reached out about one in, I think, Antelope or something, and I was like, I'm not going to that. I'm like, yeah, and I just left it at that. And then they messaged you, and they messaged like 3 or 4 of my friends, and they're all sending me, yo, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, okay, let me actually look into what this is. And then I just left it at that. And then literally, I think maybe like 3 or 4 days before, my friend Jazzy would do a lot of shoots with, she's a model, and she's like, hey, they reached out to me. I'm going to go. If you want to go, I hit them up, and they said they have a spot available for you. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. I mean, it's like 10 minutes away from me. I'll go. So it was really just a last minute thing, and I was just like, well, I'll go and just kind of see what happens. And then it turned out to be pretty cool. Hopefully, I feel like with the photo meets, what I find is just like, it's really, I felt like you work with these people, but I don't know if I'll be working with them in the future kind of thing. Like, I guess there's talks with some of them, like, oh, it'd be great, we work together. But I don't know. Like, it's just kind of like figuring out, like, okay, like, what would I do with these people kind of thing? Because everyone has their own people they work with. I feel like especially the models, they have their set photographers they work with, whereas they only worked with you for 5 minutes and never really got to understand your style kind of thing, if that makes sense. And like overall it was cool, but from there I say the rest of the summer was just doing shoots with different people. We never really got to do too many shoots, but we did in the beginning of the year. We had like the country style shoots, and we helped out doing.
I was gonna say we started off the year pretty strong. And then
he just got busy.
Life hit.
Oh yeah, like school for me, very, very busy. Especially in the springtime, that was like my busiest semester. And then this semester, not as busy, but more, I don't know. It is busy, but it's just the stuff I have to do. It's not really necessarily hard. It's just more time consuming. Like where I have to sit down and be like, okay, let me get this done, get that done, get that done. And then I can figure out if I can take photos. And then from there, school year started. School just busyness, still only really doing shoots on the weekends, but I still had my sports photography job at Lifetime during the week, which has been pretty cool. With that, it's been cool because recently I've just been more like getting, I don't know if you'd say getting involved, but I guess getting like more connected with like the players, because Tuesday nights is like the younger people, but keep in mind they're all in like their 30s, some maybe early 40s, and they'll have like their families on the side and stuff. But with a lot of them, it's cool just kind of talking to them. Like, a lot of them played college basketball, and I could tell because I'm watching them play. I'm like, that guy just dropped 30-something points over there. This guy's dunking. And, I don't know, it's a whole different environment. And then what I also found was interesting was my brother Austin, who we did have on this podcast. I photographed one of their games, and it's like a whole different play style because these guys are even younger. So then I'm, like, really just, like, trying to be quick with everything. And I was talking to my boss at the Lifetime job. I'm like, he's like, oh, how have you been enjoying working here? It's been like 10 or 11 months, and you seem to be getting better each time. I'm like, well, yeah, it's fun. It's just a big learning curve because, as you would know, I've just been doing portraits. Where it's just you can keep them still here.
You get to pose them.
Whereas basketball, I feel like I always say this to people when they ask me about the job. I have to predict everything, and I think it helps that I understand basketball.
Right.
Because with anything, especially within that gym, the lighting's not the best. So, like, my shutter speed is, like, 1/800, which for basketball, you want it to be like 1,000 plus because you really want to get the action shots. So with anything, I'm just here waiting for something to happen. And then I also, which is interesting, I have to follow a deadline with the types of photos they want. They are like, they have to, yeah, it can't just be like just action shots. So like they have to be wearing the uniforms. Don't photograph anyone out of uniform. We only want 2 people within the image frame. We want it to be just close-ups, no photo bottom.
Wow.
It's like,
wow.
It's actually really specific, and they're only really using this more for social media. But I'm like, like it's kind of interesting. But
That's super specific.
Yeah, I still enjoy it though, because it gets me kind of like, I guess, sharpening the iron of basketball photography, because that's something I think when I transferred to, I'm not going to say the school name because you never know with people online, but when I transferred to the 4-year that I'm applying to, if I can get a job within sports photography, this is already building my portfolio for that.
Right.
So I think that's like another plus to doing this job, whereas when I was just working retail, it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm getting paid, but like, is it helping my photography?
Right.
And then from there, I actually got a few cool things. One, so I'll put the photos on screen somewhere here. I got this little light bar. David, you can see it over there on that little shelf. Ooh. As we did back in like 2020 with his lightsabers. It's literally just a bar like this big. And I did a few night shoots with that. Turned out really cool. What I would do... You good? Mm-hmm. What I would do is just put on a tripod and just do some night stuff. It kind of got like some abstract streetwear type of photos. From there, I'd say, I think I did 3 shoots with Austin for another Hoopology documentary. And this time around, it's more of just focusing on like the actual training he does with clients. Whereas the last film we did was more of like the process.
Right.
And we are going to be working on the interview part again, so...
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Don't know when that'll come out, when we're shooting out. Everything is just still kind of in the works. Because you've been busy for
I've been hecka busy and broke. So, yeah, it's been great. No. I was going to say, though, the last time we did the podcast, did you have the drone yet?
I did. Yeah, I got the drone close to a year ago. I think I got it like Black Friday weekend of last year.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But that was... I can talk about the drone. So... I really was using it a lot when our family went to Pismo Beach. I made this whole, I remember I showed you that big cinematic video I made. It was really cool.
I was going to say, the content you put out during that was great. It was dope. And
Thank you.
You could tell that you enjoyed being there.
Oh, yeah. And this is this thing. Sometimes on my story, I'll still just post little clips or photos that I have on my story because I'm like, man, I really love that content. And I feel like for me, mainly just shooting portraits, and being able to go out and shoot nature and I feel like pretty decent for myself, not really doing it in a while, and being able to capture that is like really cool. Like on my computer, you can't see it right now, but if I were to close all the tabs, I have this background of like the ocean on the pier. It's really cool. That's what I'm like, I love like having all these different things within photography, like the drone, because I remember you had the drone for the longest, and I was like, man, I need to get a drone. And I'm glad I got it. And I broke
the drone for the longest time. Oh, that's one thing that happened in between the last. So I took it to the beach, and I got hecka sand in it in the gimbal on accident. But it was still under like my warranty thing to where I could get it fixed for like super cheap. So I sent it back to them, and I think it was like maybe $50 to fix it, and they gave me like a gimbal cover because I think I lost mine. But it's now fixed and it works great, and I'm very happy about that. And I didn't have to buy another one, which is what I was worried about. So
wait, okay, was that you that were telling me about DJI might be in trouble or something?
Yeah, it was a little while back.
That had me a little concerned. I'm like, I need DJI.
It was I forgot what news outlet it was, but apparently there's like a list of companies that it was a list that was released of companies that the Pentagon were like that the Pentagon had on their list of this could be whatever bad juju, I guess. And one of those companies is DJI, because they are a Chinese company or started as a Chinese company, and so people were all scared and stuff. So I don't know, if you're flying a DJI drone, you might be working for China. Yep. Moral of the story.
But going back to drones, I'm really glad I got the mini though, because it's really great. Whenever I need it, it's small. It can just fit in my bag. And it wasn't like a break the bank purchase, and I more of got it kind of for like the long run, where I'm like, okay, anytime I want to do drone stuff, boom, I can get it going. I don't have to put the license for it every 2 years or so, unless I'm doing commercial stuff. Yeah. I'm not doing any commercial stuff, so I don't need the license. But maybe in the future I will. But at the moment, it's just more for fun, and if I just want to post it on like Instagram story or reel or whatever. But another thing I got into was film photography. It was honestly bound to happen for me, because there's a lot of people that I follow, and especially at these photo meets, it really convinced me. I'm talking to all these photographers, and they have the film camera. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, like that looks really cool. I'm watching the process of them winding the film up, and like hearing like the classic film shutter. I'm like, okay, that sounds really nice. And then,
what kind of a lens do you have on yours?
So I have two. One, they're both over there. I'm not gonna get it right now because we got a bunch of cables in the way. One is a 50 millimeter,
Nifty 50,
which I think is a 1.4 on the lens, which is really good for portraits. The other one, I believe, is a 70 to 200. I don't know exactly which one it is. I haven't used it too much. Keep in mind, I've only shot one roll of film. Film was pricey.
It's expensive.
Like to get, I think the one roll of film I bought was like 20 something bucks, and to get it developed it was like 27, 28 bucks. So that's the one thing about film that I'm not really looking forward to, is it's definitely going to be breaking the bank for me.
But you have the cute vintage look.
Yeah, I have grainy photos. But that's more of something for fun for now. But what I'd like to do, I was talking to Austin about this, maybe even you, where I'm like, once I get good within it, I want to kind of implement that within like the packages I sell, where like for grad students, you'd be like, okay, you have this package, and then if you want like X amount of film photos, that's an add-on for this cost. Because a lot of people I feel like really like film, and I was talking to a lot of photographers about this. Film photography is like getting more and more popular by the day. I feel like
especially on social media and stuff, like in my feed on Instagram and on TikTok. I be seeing a bunch of the film cameras and like people showing off their stuff, and then I look at the prices of them and I want to cry. I'm like, wow, that's a cool one. I want to get that one.
Oh wait,
never mind.
Yeah,
close laptop.
That's why for mine, I'm just gonna shoot every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because I have Christmas break for school in like a couple weeks, so I'll probably use like maybe like 2 or 3 rolls, do different shoots, just to keep like the consistency going within it. And then hopefully, if I'm confident enough that people are interested in like booking me for film shoots, I can do that too. Because there's a lot of photographers, especially there's this one. I don't think I've shown you. Her name's Grace Torres. She's like a full-time wedding photographer. I found her because she had like a news segment about how she makes like 6 figures of wedding photography a year. But what's like one big thing I noticed, she's like, majority of my stuff is digital, but I found like more and more people as time go on like want me to shoot film too, so she'll add that as like a package within it. I'm like, well, I feel like I need to hop on that wave. But I will show you some, and I'll put some on the screen. But from my first time shooting film, I feel like I did pretty decent. It's really a big learning curve because with these cameras, it's autofocus. I can easily just lightly tap, and I know where I'm focusing on. I know if my subject is in frame, in focus, the eye's detection's on, everything. And I have the viewfinder. I know exactly that my settings are right. I'm gonna get the lighting right. It's very much easier than film. And when I was learning film, I was like just sitting here constantly watching videos, like, okay, what is this light meter do? Like, how do I make sure I'm gonna get the photos in focus?
Why are the pictures all white?
Yeah, literally. But let me go to see under my favorites. So I split those. So it's 36 shots in my roll. I did 2 shoots with it. The first half of it was with my friend Jazzy, and we did a laundromat shoot. It was kind of just like the vintage vibe. I think we found it on like Pinterest or something. Those, I'll put them on the screen. This is like, I think, the very first photo. See, kind of dark. Didn't really know what I was doing. And then from there, not bad. I'm starting to get them in focus, but this whole time I'm just checking the light meter, because in the film camera you see this little meter, the viewfinder, and you want that to be right down the middle. Maybe a little bit this way, maybe a little bit that way. But if it's red on here or red there, that means it's either too dark or too bright.
Yeah.
So that was a constant learning curve, as you can see. Not bad. Then they start to go out of focus. I was upset because...
I was going to say, getting it to focus is probably one of the harder parts.
Let me go to the ones that are out of focus, because I think it's real to show the fails on it. Like that. Unfortunate.
I don't know. That's kind of a vibe, though. I feel like if you squared it, like that low key is like an album cover. I don't know.
That's the thing with film. Everyone's like, "Oh, that photo's an album cover. That photo's..."
Yeah.
I'm like, true. But these ones are cool with like the lighting. But again, I just didn't have my settings bright enough. Like you have the light here because of the sun, but it's not bright enough to see you're there or there. These ones, again, I was trying to work with the light. I was so upset when I saw that these were out of focus because we had this little window of light
that would have been perfect.
And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, out of focus. Dang. Out of... Like, I took 3 photos here because I'm like, one of these is bound to be in focus, right?
Lo and behold.
Because there's this little thing. I forget exactly what it's called on my camera, but I literally just hold this little dial up and it'll show me, like, if it's in focus or not, like, whatever's right in front. And I'm constantly adjusting that. And to me, it seemed like it was in focus. So when I saw that this was out of focus, I was like, man, that is so tough. But my favorite photo from this first one is this right here. That looks so like dramatic to me. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like with the film, with the outfit, the light just on the partial face and shadow, I feel like it's really dramatic and moody. And that's like exactly what I was going for with that.
Pretty clear too.
I know, and like for like my first maybe 10 photos shooting film, I'm pretty proud of that.
That's darn good.
Thank you. And then the other half of the shoot was with my friend Callie, who I'd done a shoot with well over a year ago. This one was at like the spot we always go to, that hill. These turned out better, I think, just because of the fact that the light, it was just like really just cloudy and overcast. I didn't have to worry about it being too dark or too sunny. Not every photo was in focus, but I was getting a good amount that were in
still
focus.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And like when they're out of focus, it's not like terrible, you know?
Right.
And then I think the best one from these, I think I posted it, was like this one, I think was probably the best.
That is really good.
Then the idea with this one was kind of more like the editorial vibe, where it was just kind of vintage, I guess, and using props like magazines, and then she had some books and all these cool different things, and it was pretty cool. And going forward, I definitely want to just keep shooting film until I get good at it. And do you have any idea as to what's to expect from you going into, I guess, the end of the year or into next year?
More of nothing.
You got to get some.
I'm kidding. Going. I know. I have to do some shoots. I actually want to do, I don't know, but definitely portraits, because I have to work on that and get better at that, which I don't know. I'll probably start reaching out to people soon here. And when I would actually do it is realistically at the end of, mid to end of December is when I would probably actually get out to do it, because I have to plan it. And into the new year for sure. I also want to try a little bit of sports photography with one of my friends is playing rugby. And so I want to try to go to some of her games and get that. And like you were saying, how like since you know basketball, like, and you know the game well enough, like you find it like fairly simple to
understand the flow.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, rugby is one of those sports, just because I spent years playing it. So then it would just be fun to capture some of those moments on camera, those big hits, and that's definitely in the works.
I feel like. Yeah, that's kind of similar to like how, with me getting that basketball photography job. It was kind of like me, in a sense, getting back into basketball. Like, obviously, I'm not on the court playing, but like I've always enjoyed basketball. Me and my family, as you know, my brothers very well, we all love basketball. We're always watching games and talking about different players and teams and whatnot. But like I'd say going into high school, I just kind of like stopped that, and I just kind of was more into like video games, and I guess then eventually I got into video editing and video production because of the classes that we had in high school. Obviously then I got into photography and it led to this, but that job kind of made me get back into it. I'm like, okay, like this is cool again, and I'm able to like watch games be right there and be able to photograph it too. And maybe in the future it could lead to some big opportunities. Obviously you never know what can
Sacramento
happen.
Kings, hire this man.
Hey, hit me up. But For me, I'd say what's to come for the end of the year. Just closing it out on grad shoots because there's fall grads. I just did a shoot yesterday. I'll actually show you some of those photos. They turned out really nice with the fall weather. Finishing those out, and then from there, if I have portfolio ideas, I'll get those going. I think we got to do some shoots too during December.
I'm low-key getting the model itch.
Yeah?
Man, I gotta...
You're like, hey, it's been
gotta get back there.
I don't think I've taken photos of you since maybe like February or March.
I was gonna say, it's almost been a year. Well, actually, no. Because we did that Western shoot.
It's up there, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like February, though. But
was
still,
it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That, to me, it's weird. Because it feels kind of a long time ago, but at the same time, it doesn't.
You know, we talked about this on the very first episode of this year. We were like looking back on 2021 and we're like, it felt like it was a part of 2020. It felt like it all was really quick.
It all merges, bro.
And this whole year, for me especially, I feel like you can relate, it was so quick. Like, how is it already almost the middle of November? Like, I feel like...
No idea.
I think who's it? Austin always will tell me, he's like, yeah, I feel like the beginning of the year, like January and February is kind of slow. I'm like, no, for me,
I feel like that's when it goes some of the fastest.
Quick.
Yeah.
And I think with us just being at that point in our lives that we're just busy. It just really gets everything going.
One more thing too for expectations, since you called me on it. I've been writing down ideas for little short films. And so hopefully in the new year, maybe we can co-direct. And I think for one of my ideas, I kind of wanted to act in it.
Oh, yeah.
So we would need just, in this case, I think probably just one other actor. But, yeah. Hopefully expect some short films. Because it's fun, but the whole, to me, thinking about the whole editing process, I'm like, oh no, please no. Please no. And then I'll just have Eric do it.
Nah. We're just going to hit him up. Eric, can you
Yeah.
See, I got to teach you at least some of the basics.
I was going to say, yeah, that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to do a workshop where I pull up and then you show me how to actually do it.
Eric's editing class 101.
Yeah. And then you charge me like $300 for it.
It's going to be a 4-credit unit for you. And then, what else I got going on for the rest of the year? I know I have some upcoming shoots with clients, and so for some reoccurring clients I did shoots earlier with in the year, which that'll be cool because it's always fun to catch up. Like I did one in August with this girl who I did a grad shoot for, and it was just kind of cool catching up and us all realizing, wow, it's been like 4 or 5 months since we did that shoot. Like, what? I feel like I just saw you. And I feel like that's been like the theme with everyone who I've been seeing from time to time throughout the year. And I think it's crazy. I feel like we say this like, we said this at the beginning of the year, but like watching the growth is kind of crazy. Like, because I know you've been busy, so you haven't been doing a lot of shoots. When I look at my shoots, I'm like, whoa. Like,
yeah. If I stayed consistent, you would probably see some good growth. But
with
like this guy.
Well, that's because I'm like, obviously I want to do this full time. So
for sure.
But it's just, I don't know, it's crazy just seeing, like, I'm looking at, like, January, February, I'm like, at the time, I'm, like, thinking, like, oh, my God, this is it. This is, like, amazing, right? And then a few months pass, I'm like, that was cool, but this right here, and then a few months pass, oh, that was cool, but look at, you know what I mean? And it's, like, I think it just shows, like, me being consistent has helped me a lot. And I'm really grateful that I pushed myself to do shoots. But that's why, because you said you want to do portraits.
Another idea I had, too.
Sorry. You got, well, we have another idea? You want to...
So I recently bought like an interview mic, like a wireless mic where it's the transmitter, then you attach the receiver to the camera. That's the other thing I want to do is do some. Yeah, I'll show you.
Go ahead, bad.
But I want to do some like man on the street type stuff. For me, I love country music and stuff, so I kind of want to walk around and ask people like if they listen to country music and maybe say, okay, can you guess what who this country song is by, and play them like 10 seconds of a song, and if they can guess it, I'll like give them $1. I don't know, something cool. But yeah, something along those lines, or just ask people what their favorite country song is right now, and then like play it for, because on social media that's what people be doing. But yeah, I just think that would be fun and
you
pretty
got a cameraman right here.
Exactly.
But What I was gonna say though, for you said you want to do portraits. Definitely, just building your portfolio is literally just hit up people like friends, family, whoever. If you need models, let me know because I know people. And we also
I'm scared of asking people to model.
There's literally nothing to worry about. Like when I reach out to people, like for sure at first I don't know them, but then you literally just kind of build like that friendship with them. Like with a lot of them, I usually like before the shoot try to figure out like common interests and things to talk about beforehand. So then going into the shoot, I can talk about it with them. Like I did a shoot with this girl named Ray, who I'm gonna be doing a basketball film with her Austin. Sometime, maybe end of this year, maybe beginning.
Oh, she's gonna be a part of it?
No, it's gonna be like a separate like training video.
Oh, cool.
I think it'd be more of like a YouTube content, social media stuff. But shout out to Ray. I don't think she watches this. No one really knows we have a podcast. But I did a shoot with her, and we really just like, cause she does like college basketball. So the whole shoot was just talking about basketball players and different shoes and different like all these things, and it was cool. So it's like that's another thing I learned too this year. It's like when I find like that common ground of like things to talk about, it like really gets the ball rolling. So that's what I'll tell you with that, because you're very social. So I feel like if you can figure out like you're working with someone like, oh, they like country music, boom, and you start talking about that. Oh, they're into I don't know what other interests. Oh, they're into Star Wars. I know you like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Boom, start talking about that. So it's like that's something that I could really advise you to do. Because whereas like if you go into a shoot and just say like talking about just photography, hey, can you do this pose? Hey, let's try that. I feel like it's honestly kind of boring.
Yeah.
I'm not calling out any photographers for that, but I feel like if that's what you do, I don't know. I just feel like you just got to get like the connection.
Yeah,
right? Like,
definitely.
Because I was talking to Damian Brunton at that meet, and he's like, yeah, you just have to like become friends with them and honestly just like build that solid foundation, because that's going to get the natural smiles, the confidence on camera, and just build that relationship, and it could build a connection, because you never know. Maybe you do one shoot for a person and then 6 months go by. Hey, I need a photographer for this. Can you help me? Hey, my buddy here needs a photographer. I recommend you. Boom, you work with that. And it's like the constant thing. Whereas like how you just recommended me for a recent gig for editing. But what else to come for this year? I think that's about it. But for next year, it's honestly just, I'd say everything I've done this year, but building, off of that, because I'm already preparing for the grad season, which is like April, May, June.
I think you're going to have another really busy one.
That's the thing, because since
Actually, I know people that are going to be like graduating this upcoming next semester, so I'll send them your way.
You know,
watch, he'll have like 60 clients.
Hey, if they're your friends, pull up, because you can be the behind the scenes person.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's true.
That's what I do.
I probably will.
Like especially with Austin, because he would know a lot of these people I do grad shoots for. I'm like, hey, come over. Like, you know the campus better than me, and also you know these people too. So it just helps. Like, that's the other thing I like having him as an assistant, because we'll just like talk. Like, I feel like I'm talking to, but he's like you in terms of talking. You guys, I feel like with anyone could talk about anything. It seems like. And another thing which is cool is that since with the people that I've met, with the school I'm going to, there we go. It helps me get to know them, and when it comes to graduation season, I'll be working with them. So I'm very much looking forward to
his grad shoot for his future school that he's transferring to. He's just gonna take a bunch of selfies.
Yeah, I don't need a photographer to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's what his grad shoot's gonna be. He's gonna send it in the mail to everyone too. Everyone's like, why is it just literally just self?
Isn't he a photographer? Why is it an iPhone photo?
I mean, you low-key could like put it on timer and like mess with it if you really wanted to. That's kind of a lonely way to do it.
Yeah, but I want people there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that'd be kind of sad.
That would be kind of sad. Like, just all dressed up and you have your own tripod and stuff.
3, 2, okay.
Like, smile, like just a single tear.
But yeah, so 2023, definitely just building off of what I did this year. I say for me, my business has definitely been my most busy and successful year. And I think, again, next year is just going to skyrocket off of that, just because it's been constant growth in terms of not necessarily like social media numbers. Because I know when we were first starting the podcast, I was really heavy on like TikTok and I don't know, Instagram Reels and all that stuff.
TikTok's kind of whack these days with
growth.
Like trying to get numbers and stuff.
Yeah,
though.
you know, one thing before we close out is like the thing every photographer I see is they'll go and do street photography like, hey, do you speak English? Can I get a couple of photos of you? Like, I know it became a trend to make fun of it.
I saw.
But when I look up like the top photography videos, that's still like really popular. It's like going up to random people and being like, hey, do you speak English? Can I get some photos of you? And they blow up, and it's like really like standard portraits of just them standing there just looking at the camera or walking or whatever it is. But I don't know. I don't really care like as much really about TikTok. Like this year, like I'll try to post. But I feel like I just don't have like the care for it because I'm like, one thing I realized is I haven't gotten many. Like I think I got one booking that found me from TikTok, whereas
Instagram there's a lot more traffic and a lot more interaction.
Because it's like I feel like with Instagram I don't know. I feel like it's kind of more.
Well,
easy
TikTok
to find
is just
people.
so saturated now with content and like content creators and like, I just feel like TikTok. There's just so many people like that are pumping out content and so it's like. Yeah.
And then it's like the people are like posting like multiple times a day and they're like there's like 5 different trends going on and you gotta use this audio and it's like I don't know. And it's just like the whole short form content is just kind of like I feel like it's getting annoying.
It gets old.
Especially from a creator standpoint, right? Because I'm diving back into doing YouTube videos. And it's like when I go on YouTube, everything I recommended is YouTube Shorts, which is like I don't know if you've seen it, but they're literally just TikToks on YouTube or Instagram Reels on YouTube, and it's like sure that may get like the numbers and views and all that, but I'm like I want to create like a 5-10 minute video.
It doesn't leave room for anything creative.
Yeah, and it's like especially for photography, I feel like it's important for people to see the process and also even just get to know you.
Right.
Whereas you can't do that in a 10-second reel. It's like
because people's attention span is only 10 seconds.
I know.
These days.
Not even that. I feel like it's like 5 to 7. Like
yeah, seriously.
Because it's like with photography, it's like here's my camera, here's photos, and that's it. Where I'm like, so now like I kind of created like I'm creating like a series where I'm doing like photo shoot vlogs. I did one with my friend Jazzy. It was a gas station shoot. We just filmed the whole process and vlogging it, and it's cool. I feel like it's cool for people to see like my process, right?
Yeah.
And especially I feel like for like potential clients or people that may just be mutual with me on Instagram or whatever the case may be, they can get an insight into see what it would be like if they did book me. And I feel like from there, what's also great about YouTube is it's just documenting. Like it's really just documenting your journey. That's what I love about my YouTube channel is just like it's like documenting my journey within photography. Like we did videos like I think it's been like over 2 years since we first started doing videos, but now I can look back on that. We can look back and be like, wow, like look how much we've changed since then. Like
look how fat I am now.
Oh my God. But like not, bro. But like looking back at the photography and being like, well, like look what we were doing then compared to now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like how we were freaking out over like a lightsaber in the dark. Or like what else did we do? Like long exposures or like the car stuff over there with the dad's car or the drone. Like all these just like.
Although I don't know that first one of the first ones of the lightsaber shoot. That was kind of cool.
No, that was later on. I'm talking about the with the red right there. That was like really early.
Yeah, that red one was whack. But the other one,
for the time, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, the one at the top is cool.
That's still probably one of my favorites.
But it's just that's what's cool about like YouTube, I find, and that's why I'm trying to be more consistent with it, because it's just documenting. Like I feel like I've been finding a lot of photographers, especially with watching film photography, it's like I'll watch a video. And then I'll go back like a year or two and then just see how different they were as a person and how different their work was and just being able to watch video after video of the progress. So I'm like, if I could do that and someone could watch like my progress and see, okay, like I could do the same, then cool. Like, I don't know. But so, yeah, 2023, expectations for me, busyness with grad shoots, any client stuff. I don't think I'll announce it yet. You'll see it on my Instagram. I don't think I've told you that. I'll tell you off camera. But I have a very cool announcement that will be on my Instagram. I'll definitely be sharing it because it's something I've been trying to do for a while now. And something I think I will do more of in 2023. But with that being said, did you have any last things you wanted to add?
I love you guys.
all 2 of you watch.
Yep. Love you, Mom.
That's pretty much it. Don't expect us to make another one consistently. I mean,
yeah.
If you are watching this, I'd be surprised.
How dare you think that we're gonna post again? Because it'll probably be May.
Honestly, no, May. That's when I'm really busy. I feel like
I don't know. We'll see, but we definitely need to do this one.
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of catch up.
Maybe after we do Austin's.
Oh yeah,
like sure. So we can update.
We could probably have them on there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's about it. See you guys later.
Peace.